Elegbanato, kere ye un nato, agoloriza. Elegbanato, kere ye Elegbanato, kere ye un nato, agoloriza. Elegbanato, kere ye Elegbanato, kere ye un nato, agoloriza. Elegbanato, kere ye Elegbanato, kere ye un nato, agoloriza. Elegbanato, kere ye Elegbanato, kere ye un nato, agoloriza. Elegbanato, kere ye Elegbanato, kere ye un nato, agoloriza. Elegbanato, kere ye Elegbanato, kere ye un nato, agoloriza. Elegbanato, kere ye Elegbanato, kere ye un nato, agoloriza. Elegbanato, kere ye Elegbanato, kere ye
All right, guys. So our intro is going to be a little short today for this video. Hello, I am High Priestess Jamila. How y'all doing today? All right, so I don't have a lot of time. This is why this is going to be part one. I will be continuing part two later on this evening. So make sure that you click the bell notification so that you can be notified when I am live. Okay. So bloodline curses can be a tough thing to break. And this is also generational curses. Okay. Generational curses do not go away just because you went to college. Generational curses don't go away just because you decided to ignore it. Generational and bloodline curses are very, very, very real. And I've been working with quite a few clients who have generational hexes or bloodline curses over them. And it's funny how the same folks that hexed you are the ones that created the curses. So that's very interesting. So this is why the spirits are working really, really hard to get people out from under these curses. The reason why this one is entitled The Elders That Want Them to Stay. Okay. The reason why the elders want these curses to stay is number one, because of ignorance, orneriness, and learned behavior that they're not ready to break. So unfortunately, let me give you an example. You remove a bloodline curse, but you've got the grandmother or either the grandfather that is still very ignorant and afraid. So fear is the number one thing, is fear. The number one thing that keeps it. So basically what it is it is demonic entities. It is bad spirits and other things that are feeding off of your bloodline, keeping your bloodline tied up with this confusion. So what you will have is, more than likely, it's an elder, and it depends on what is going on, because those of you that have an elder, those of you where the elder is messed up, what the elder will do is they will continue to conjure up those demons and they will continue to afflict you, and it will not go away until they are dead. If there's nobody there to inflict that curse on you every single time, nobody, I mean, the Bible was the start. It was. And I've explained the Bible and how there were reptilians and all other sorts of demonic entities that wrote these things out for us. But what it's done is it's been passed down generationally, that ignorance. So it does start with the mind. It does. It starts with the mind. It starts with the mindset. Okay. So what will happen is that you will have an elder that will, in fact, sacrifice certain members of the family, even sometimes their own children. So this is the reason why the elder, doesn't do anything that is correct for the children. This is the reason why they're actually working against anything that you're trying to do to remove that hex. And again, sending your kids to college does not mean that you've broken some kind of hex. People are confused about that. Because regardless if you have a diploma, you're still hexed regardless. And everything that you do is going to be rougher and it's going to be harder. Now, a lot of these practitioners that are on here, they know about this and they know that these hexes are over their family. And instead of them facing that demonic entity, what they will do is they will try to pass it to other people. Okay, especially if you were born with spiritual gifts. The Bible curses anybody that is born with spiritual gifts. And 110% of us were born with spiritual gifts. All of us were. Every last one of us. Okay, because you came onto this earth and most people have them. It just depends on how much they have managed to oppress them. Because if those gifts are oppressed, then you cannot fight back and fight against them at all. The only way you're going to learn to deal with this is if you have those spiritual gifts of discernment. Now, the reason why the elders want them to stay is because they probably feel guilty about something that they've either done, guilt, fear, and ignorance. So what an elder will do is every year, sometimes even every 6 months, sometimes every month, the elder is constantly trying to put this on you as their child, as somebody that trusted them, as somebody that was supposed to trust them. The reason why they want the hex to stay is because they have either made a deal with some kind of demonic entity, whether or not it was on purpose or by accident. But in their deep subconscious, they understand what they have done. So there are actual elders that will go to so-called witches and say, okay, I don't know, because they just don't know. It's ignorance. Most things, people do most stuff out of ignorance. It's just the reality of it. Okay. Now, if you were somebody that was not born under a generational curse, then you just got to sit back and shut up and allow people that have experience with it to speak on it. Because a lot of people don't know what they're talking about. It does not go away. You have to use a fire ritual to get rid of it. You have to. Okay. Now, the sad part about it, especially if you are African American, but it goes the same for white people, okay, is that there are a lot of your elders who will either themselves go to a practitioner, and practitioners understand and know this, and they will take advantage of that. They know that you're being taken advantage of. They know it, and they don't care. As long as they can capitalize off of your family's ignorance, they will do it. I've seen a lot of people that have done that. A lot of people that will give you the wrong information just so that you can continue to be caught up in that while giving you a fantasy that will never happen. So let me just tell you what generational hexes can affect. It can affect your money. It can affect your relationships. It can affect your health. And it can ultimately affect every aspect of your life. So a person that does not have experience, because there's a lot of people that don't have that, but it's more people that are gen hexed than there are people that are not. So there's a smaller percent of the entire population that knows this secret that does not allow this to happen to their families. And I'm not talking about, because it doesn't matter if you're married. A lot of people think, oh, well, I'm married, so I'm not cursed. Well, guess what? You just lied to yourself. Because if getting married don't make the curse go away, it doesn't. It still affects you. And especially if you are somebody with spiritual gifts that is meant to help people, and every single thing that you deal with touches you, makes you sick, and you damn near dying, then that's the spirits letting you know something. So what the elders will do is they will say, well, you know, this is the way my grandma did it, or this is the way my grandpa did it. And there's no other way out. They think that there's no other way out. Once somebody hits their 50s, they might be set in their ways. So even though they know and they have enough education to know how to change the situation, they walk in ignorance, and they will continue to put these bloodline curses on their children. So this is one of the reasons why. And I know that I got a lot of people watching, because I had quite a few people that came to me to get generational hex removers last year. They saw a huge difference in their lives, but then this year, guess what? It hit you like a barrel of bricks. And the reason why is because they renew the contract out of ignorance. They renew it. They always do, more than likely, unless they're dead. But then what they'll do is they will educate agents. So they'll get, you know, some younger people in your family to do it. And then it just goes around and around in a circle to where your family members are on a rat race. And please believe that generational hexes is going to affect everybody, especially because a lot of people are not stupid. They are very, very intelligent. So they can sense and they can see what's happening, and you can tell because all of a sudden your family don't want to talk to you. Okay, when they separate from you, you can tell that they up to no good. They always are obsessed with this one sacrifice in the family. They always obsessed with sacrifice. Well, guess what? What did sacrifice do? We saw the main sacrifice that we hear about every single day is Jesus Christ. It did nothing. It did not remove the curses from people, did it? Did sacrificing Jesus remove the curses? Nope, it didn't. So ignorance is bliss for a lot of these people. And you don't have to worry about the elders, because the elders are going to deal with that in the afterlife, because they did not do everything that was required for their children. Now, I'm just going to tell you, you know, there's people from all over America that know about this, practitioners alike, especially over there in Louisiana. They have the knowledge of the fact that you have to break the curse and you don't continue the curse, but a lot of them will. So that's why you got a lot of practitioners on here. They looking for somebody to send the curse to, instead of facing it and doing something about it. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. Jacob is up there playing some game and he is up there hooping and hollering. He's happy. So I'm sorry if the sound of children playing bothers you. you, then you got something on you. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. The children will always be here until they get old enough to move out. Okay. Many elders that are in your family, including your aunties, your mamas, your daddies, your grandpas, and your grandmothers, they will continuously give you over to that demonic entity. And it's because of frailty and weakness. So when a person has already made up in their mind what they're going to do, by the time they get into their 50s and 60s, they're not going to change. So this is the reason why they feel comfortable with it. And they'll even make up things in their minds to justify it. Oh, my daughter said that, my daughter said no when I asked her to take me to the store. Demon, go curse her. You see what I'm saying? But it's not that simple. But they, a lot of them can either do it with their mind, but a lot of them will actually speak to a demonic entity and say, don't take me, take my daughter. Don't take me, take my daughter and her children. Don't take me, take them. Take them, not me. Instead of telling the damn thing to get off of their family. But see, by that time, the thing feels like they owe them something. So it's telling them it's either going to be you or your family. Which one is it going to be? So then they're feverishly looking for somebody to absorb that energy. But see, this is native to your bloodline. You can't send that to nobody else. But a lot of people will ignorantly try to do that. And they get it sent back to them. Most of the time, whenever as a practitioner, I am reversing any black magic, I'm going to send it back. Where else is it going to go? It has nowhere else to go. And then it comes back to you, and you are either you have a belief that thing is more powerful than you. Most of us were born under generational hexes. Most of us, Leslie. Okay. Some people they've been through so much trauma in their life that that's all they know is trauma. Not saying that about you, but it's understandable because a lot of people, they get used to that trauma. They get trained to deal with it. So for example, when you see these kids out here that get killed, Kanika Jenkins, a lot of other ones, not trying to say that the parents did it, but I'm just bringing it up as an example. Okay. And what they will do is these parents will go online or either on the news and they'll say, I forgive you. What sane person is just going to forgive somebody that just gunned down their child? Somebody that's under demonic influence, somebody that's scared. Because we all know they're going to threaten your children, of course. And then a lot of people give in to that. I know that for me, and that's how I know that nothing will ever happen to any of my children, because they know that nothing will ever be forgiven. Okay, if somebody were to physically harm my children to the point where they either physically harmed or murdered, we're going to have a problem, which is totally different than what I'm talking about. But the reality of it is that especially when it comes to familial sacrifice, this is what people will do out of ignorance and fear. And this is how that demon of fear works. Instead of you working with your family to remove it, they'll go against each other. And this is something that happens over and over and over again. And this is the same trap that a lot of people are caught up in. So for example, let's say you get married and your bloodline is already hexed, and then his bloodline is hexed, but then he's got a mother or a grandmother that's looking at you like you a piece of turd. Well, that's a part of the grooming process to get you to feel bad about yourself so that you can be a sacrifice for whatever it is that they want to sacrifice you for whatever selfish freaking reasons. So you struggling and you noticing certain stuff happening and manifesting within your children, and you can feel that negative energy and you get the hex removed. Well, guess what? That heifer gonna put it right back on you. Hey, Rochelle. So this was the reason why Spirit told me that you have to do follow-up rituals every year, and most people give up. Most people give up. They say, screw it, you know, and this is where suicide comes from. And this is where people get to doing stuff to their kids that they give up, and they say, well, this kid is acting bad anyway, so I'm just going to sacrifice it. But why is it acting bad? Why is the child behaving that way? So the same people that hexed you are responsible for a lot of that behavior. And they'll continue to do it. They're always speaking as though your spiritual gifts are a curse. This is something that was learned via the Bible. And I know a lot of y'all love Jesus, but Jesus don't have nothing to do with that Bible. Somebody can lie on somebody as well. So those are two separate things. Something that was written by man is very different than something that's going to be written by an actual God. Most people are underneath that religion, and they don't mind murdering their own children. And it's not that they just murder them. Some of them do it. They just say, screw it, I'm just going to end it all. But they softly kill you throughout the years, and they kill your spirit. Cynthia, from what I'm picking up on, and I haven't confirmed this with the cards, is that what it's doing is it's taking all of the oldest sons. It's taking all of the sons from the family is what it's doing. So sometimes sometimes it'll be a curse over the sons, and sometimes it'll be a curse over the daughters. But a lot of the times it doesn't even matter what sex the child is. It just wants the child. It just wants the energy from the child, or it just wants to play you. It you know, a lot of people will ask why. Because it's evil. You know, that's really the only explanation. We can try to come up with some sort of scientific explanation for what it is, but it's just evil. It just wants to kill and destroy. It enjoys seeing people hurting. It enjoys seeing people in a bad way. It enjoys seeing people lose their relatives. And then also it feeds off of the pain. The reason why the elders are so important, the reason why the elders are so important in the grand scheme of things, because they are supposed to be the center points. They are supposed to be the elders. They are supposed to be guiding us. But it is the elders, more than likely, because I've seen this so many times and I know what I'm talking about. They will know exactly what they're doing, and they will give over certain members of their family to the demon. Now, this goes by whoever your mother is. Who's your mother? The mother is going to be one of the most important figures in this aspect. Is your mother. What is your mother doing? And your mother could definitely sacrifice you without you even knowing. And every single time there's something that is happening to free you of that, they're trying to pull you back in that, because the main thing is to get you to kill yourself. That's the main thing. Main thing is to get you to off yourself. And a lot of people, what it will do is it will barrel down on you so hard. It will boulder down on you so hard that you'll feel that this is the only choice that I have. Fortunately, there is a way out. It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you money, but why would you give up your life for a couple of dollars? And there's not very many spiritualists that's just going to remove that free of charge. Okay, so a lot of people have gotten things confused. Money is energy. So this is the reason why for my initial ritual, this is the reason why for the initial ritual, I charge $1,500, and yearly, if you've had the first ritual, yearly it's $750. You get more than that on your income tax return. Okay, otherwise you're going to have that issue over and over again. And it's not about just lighting candles. Okay, I don't just light candles. Yes, I do use candles, because at that point, what we have to do is we have to use those candles under the intent to remove that from the aspects of your life that it is affected. Now, with most people, because it depends on what the contract is about, it really does. This is the reason why a generational curse can advance to jail time, or either life in prison, or either the death penalty. So a lot of people will say, well, human beings are responsible for their own actions. But what if they were not taught any better? And what I mean is that what if they were not taught how to protect themselves? Most people just go out here with their head uncovered and they don't protect themselves. They have no idea what's going on, none whatsoever. And they don't want you to know what's going on. Okay, now here's the thing. And I got to go because I got to get prepared for a reading. By the way, guys, my 30-minute readings are going to be extended. The sale is extended until 7:30 p.m. today because I had forgot to change the price on the website. So I extended it to 7:30. The thing of it is that the displacement of wealth and information is astronomical. So, for example, if I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to get over my generational hex and then that's it. I'm just going to think about getting rid of it. But what about your actions? Going back to school to get a college degree is not the correct action, okay? Because I was always born to do this. So is a lot of people in my family, but they feel as though it's evil. All of the spiritual gifts that you were given, it was badgered into your brain over and over again that all of your spiritual gifts are evil, and that you're evil, and that it's a curse. Well, the curse is not that. That's not the curse, especially if you have spiritual gifts. Especially. And like I said, 100% of us were born with spiritual gifts. Not just a certain percentage, but a lot of us were born with different gifts. It just depends on who you are. A lot of those gifts were either stolen, they were, told to you that it was a curse, and then that is what you manifested in your mind. So this is the reason why a lot of the most strongest people who have the strongest spiritual gift, which are people that talk to themselves, people that are schizophrenic. Schizophrenic people are some of the most spiritually gifted people because they can see into other worlds, and they've got things and spirits and all sorts of entities communicating with them. And instead of them being taught the right way to deal with those gifts, they were taught that they were crazy. So then what ended up happening is that they were not able to control that spiritual gift. Okay, paranoid schizophrenics, they can sense all kinds of things around them, but they're told that they're stupid and that they're crazy, and that's why they end up on psychotropic drugs, which makes it so much worse. So much worse, So the very same information that was given to you was also meant to hurt you at the same time and to take advantage of you. I told you guys that, you know, it was probably reptilians or some other type of demonic force that wrote the Bible. So this is not just about white people. Everybody always say it's about white people, white people, white people. No, these things come in all different sorts of skin. So it ain't just white people. Okay, it's not. That's an ignorance that we gonna have to get over in society. Because if you so focused on white people, then you're not gonna look and see what's going on in your own house and in your own backyard. So the elders, and I'm going to cut this off right now because I got to get prepared for reading. The elders will know what's going on. They'll be at a point where they will be so frail and afraid that they cannot stand up to it, and they will continue to offer you and your children over to this demon. It's not about life. It's not about life. It's not about them, you know, because they don't get nothing. The elders don't get nothing in return for it. Nothing. That's why it makes no sense. They don't get extra life. They don't live longer. No, they don't. They don't. They just get the satisfaction of seeing you suffer the way that they did. And a lot of our elders don't want to see us out of that trap. A lot of them don't. If you have a mother that sat down and talked to you and said, hey, listen, this is what's going on in our family, da 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 da, and I don't care and I'm not afraid, then you are very lucky. Because a lot of the times you're not going to have a parent that will do that. The best parent in the world is going to be the one that sits down and explains these bloodline curses to their children. And unfortunately, as long as you got elders or either agents of the elders consistently trying to work with those demons to put that on you, you're going to have to do it every year. Sometimes even twice a year. It's one of those unfortunate things that happens spiritually. So a lot of people will say, well, you know what? I don't believe in that stuff. I don't believe in it. But just because you don't believe in it does not mean that it's not real, because you're still affected by it. Okay. And when you have an elder that gives you all of the wrong information on purpose, that means that they up to no good. That means that they want you to succumb to that hex. And it's not that you're going to die right away. It's just that you're not going to live a very fulfilled life, and you're not going to be able to fulfill what you're supposed to. If you are fulfilling your spiritual duties in life, then you're going to be, then you will be compensated. But sometimes those spiritual duties that was given to you by certain deities are not the correct spiritual duty. It's not. So there's a lot of people that are not in touch with their own spirit guides. They're in touch with something else that is trying to hurt them. And what it does is it tricks you, and it will kill you. If you do right by your family, you'll live a very long time, depending on when you decide. You decide when you live and die. But a lot of them just, it's something that they just get used to. They get used to that pain. They get used to that anger. They get used to that suffering. And they don't want the suffering to stop, because the suffering, y'all ever see that movie? What's the movie with Pinhead in it? I don't know why I can't never think of these freaking movies. What's the name of that movie with Pinhead in it? They get used to the suffering and the pain of the disappointment. Hellraiser. Okay? Hellraiser. So then the suffering becomes the right to them. Thank you, Pooh Bear. The suffering becomes addictive to the point where they want to suffer so much that they don't mind seeing their kids get killed or die. This is why they'll contract people out, because they want that suffering. Both boys were firstborns. And my ex's present wife's sister has also lost her oldest and only son. My ex also has one son with his second present wife. I wonder if he will be affected. More than likely, if you don't get it removed. I'm going to tell you that most spiritualists are afraid to remove that hex. I'm not afraid to remove it. Okay. Most of them, sorry, y'all. Most of them are afraid to remove that hex. Most of them are. Okay, this is the reason why a lot of spiritualists won't touch it, because they'll think, oh, this is going to affect me. And that's not actually the truth. That's the reason why you're a spiritualist, because it's your job to help people. If you can't do that, then you need to quit calling yourself a witch or a practitioner. You got to stop calling yourself that, because that's not what you are. What you are is just a victim. You're a victim of fear. You don't know your own power. You probably done gave away all your power. And then now, and they know it. So what they do is they try to send their stuff to other people. And you can't do that. A bloodline curse is only supposed to be on your family. So even if a person just banishes a curse, it's still going to come right back to you. Even a lot of spiritualists have been taught the wrong thing. But what I can tell you is that some of the real ones are going to let you know that it's possibly going to be not even necessarily a lifelong struggle. That's what we are here for. You don't have to do the work yourself. A lot of people, they either don't know how to do the work themselves, and a lot of people will get cheap. They'll listen to other people, but then guess what? That hex is going to manifest in your life when you least expect it. And a lot of you are very, very, very lucky. You're very, very, very lucky when you can even feel it, because as soon as somebody sends something over here and they try to send that stuff over here every day, and I send it right back to them, and it angers them. It really does. It angers them. And the reason why is because they're ignorant. They don't understand that you just have to remove it from yourself, either through yourself, if you know what you're doing, or either through a practitioner that knows what they're doing. So this is one of the reasons why the evil, and I'm going to end this right now and come back a little bit way later on this evening to talk about part 2. This is the reason why it's going to continue to affect you. And this is one of the reasons why they didn't want me to have a coven, because when I gather up my coven, I'm going to be training my witches to remove this stuff. You see what I'm saying? So they'll know, and they'll have the knowledge, and they'll be able to carry it with them. And I'm sorry, $750 a year is not, it's a mere pittance to what your family is going to go through. Okay? And this includes everything, but it doesn't limit itself to health problems, relationship problems, suffering, just sitting there suffering, and then a lot of people, they suffer all day and night. And then they come on here and they smile and they say, oh, I'm doing wonderful, but they're not doing wonderful. And then they can't fool me because I'm an empath. I was born to be an empath for a reason. Okay. So if you guys are afflicted by a bloodline curse, do not be ignorant and do not allow people to tell you, because the people that are telling you this, they are the ones benefiting off of your ignorance. They get to benefit off of it one way or the other. When you lose, they win. So the link to my website is below. Make sure, though, like I said, that you hit that subscribe button and the bell notifier so that you guys can know when I go live a little bit later on this evening. It'll probably be around, I'm not even going to say when, because, you know, then that's when they'll start to do their little work or whatever. And I don't have time for it. Okay. I really don't. If you guys have this over your family, just come to see somebody that is an expert in this. The reason why I'm an expert is because I was born under a family that was not only generationally hexed, but I was also born under a family that decided, well, let's just keep the hex. Oh, well. Our children are the sheep. Let them deal with it. Then they come back and they get jealous because you know how to deal with it. Okay. So I'll see y'all later. Love and light.